With his recent title defense of his WBC Super Flyweight title, O'Shaquie Foster happens to be carving out a nice little special place for him in the sport of boxing. It's always great to see young champions do their thing, and when they're in their prime and facing off against prime opposition, you can't complain. And O'Shaquie is doing it the right way, and he's getting the proper results. Let's talk about his fight with Abraham Nova. When we talk about fighters who are facing quality opposition and they go right into the challenges, there's a lot of respect there, because we all know that boxers put themselves through rigorous training, total dedication, sometimes separating themselves from their loved ones and everyday normal walks of life that we take for granted, in order to condition themselves mentally, spiritually, and physically for one night of a performance that could make a difference in their lives. And when you happen to be a champion like O'Shaquie Foster, whom had a second defense of his world title this Friday, past Friday, February 16th, it was exactly that. A man who had to come back and show his wares after being out of the ring only since October of 2023, where he stopped Eduardo Hernandez in the last round of their fight in Hernandez's hometown of Mexico. So here we are, where Foster was taking on another tough challenger, Abraham Nova, the Puerto Rican fighter who has come into this fight with it being his first shot at a world title, but fully dedicated and motivated to try to claim his first world championship. But Foster, being the adept fighter that he is, was able to turn back Nova's challenge. He went on to score a split decision victory that, even though that's how the judges scored it, one judge had it, I believe it was like 114 to 113 for Nova, including a knockdown that occurred late in the fight. No one else seemed to see it that way. This was clearly a unanimous decision victory for O'Shaquie, who soldiered through this fight with an injury suffered early in the fight. I believe it was in the 5th round when he went to throw a right hand and Nova stuck his elbow out and it caught O'Shaquie's bicep. And then that led to him not being able to throw his right hand as he would normally execute it. But his poker face game was spot on. And so now he comes out of this fight with his record of 22-2 with 12 KOs and still a world champion. You see, a fighter can still have a loss or two on their record and still be able to perform at an elite level and garner the type of respect that the sport would willingly give to fighters if they would just somehow, some way, come to terms and give the fight fans the fights that they want to see. Now, you take Foster, for example. He's fighting at the lower weights, the super featherweights, where there's some action for him down there. But he seemingly is rising to the occasion over and again. In this particular fight, when he came in against Nova, he started out being an orthodox fighter, switched up early in the second round to southpaw. And I kind of wondered at first, what is he doing? And he was not being very successful when he opted to do that. So we were wondering, like, is he going to try to stay this way for the whole fight? But it turned out that he was just giving Nova a different look. And that's what happens when you have versatility. You're able to give fighters a different look. And therefore, if they can't adjust to that, or even if they happen to adjust to it, and then you go back to your most comfortable position, being orthodox, now you've got him rattled because you don't know, well, he doesn't know where the switches are going to come. And that's what it was for Nova. Nova fought very hard in this fight. He came out and he really took the fight to O'Shaquie early on. But O'Shaquie's punching power, which is underrated, by the way, was the difference, because Nova, whose record now falls to 23-2 with 16 KOs, found himself having to back off of O'Shaquie at certain instances because the body work that O'Shaquie was hitting him with, precise, clean, sharp punches. Now, mind what I say, sharp. Sharp punches can be sometimes more debilitating than thudding shots, because you can brace yourself for the thud, but the sharp comes with a quickness and cuts like a knife within the midst of what you're doing. Sometimes it can lead to muscle cramping. Sometimes it can catch you in a particular spot like that floating rib or the liver, and a fight can be over. So Abraham was trying to definitely mind his work when he was in there with O'Shaquie. He was bleeding by the mouth as early as the second round. And that was a result of O'Shaquie's shotgun-like jab. This man has a really good jab, people. And he's a little guy. Little in comparison to what Stormy is. He has the ability to snap that jab with force, sort of like Miguel Cotto used to do when he was boxing very well. And that can keep opponents off base. And as O'Shaquie was able to do late in the fight, he was able to score a knockdown because Nova, who got a little bit careless in there, found himself down in the 12th round from a left hook that landed precisely on his chin. There were a couple of instances where Foster was able to catch him with something clean, and his poker face was pretty darn good because Nova got close, tied him up, became an octopus to smother any opportunity for O'Shaquie to see his shape and condition. And that's very smart. It shows that Nova has learned something since that loss where he was stopped by Robisi Ramirez. And that fight was campaigned at the featherweight division. He does appear stronger now that he's at this super featherweight, but Foster is the man. And Foster was also speaking about having a tough weight cut for this fight. And if that be the case, he may want to, as he suggested in his interview post-fight, look into getting a nutritionist to assist him going forward, because he's a hell of a fighter in this weight division. And if he does need to move up because he's grown as a man, so be it, because 135 has some stellar opponents waiting for him. But I hope that he's able to continue at 130 for the time being, because there are some quality matches for him there, and even the possibility of a rematch against Abraham Nova down the line. It's an exciting fight. These two men's styles meshed very well. It's just that Abraham caught him with that elbow early in the fight that limited Oshaki's ability to punch properly with that right hand. But there's also something else about this fight. Abraham used a lot of dirty tactics physically, and Oshaki was able to weather the storm on that. I have a great appreciation for that, because at no point did he complain, did he look for help for the ref. He fought through, and he didn't show that he was hurt, even though he was fighting with somewhat of a slight disadvantage. This is what a champion does. And I'm telling you, he's well spoken when he speaks in his post-fight interviews. Though he speaks with confidence, he doesn't use a lot of the smut that we see from various individuals out here in the sport. And that's admirable, because it's difficult now to be your own man. People often find themselves imitating and emulating bad behavior. But just be who you are and what brought you to the dance, and you'll be just fine, just like Oshaki. And now with these type of victories under his belt, he is ready for whatever the sport has for him going forward. I love this type of fighter who grows right before our eyes. Too many people are looking at the wrong subjects and are not studying the fruitful basket of talent that is right before us. Sometimes you can't get what you want, but there is always something to get and gain from what you might need. And we need more fighters like Oshaki Foster, who can go on, represent with titles, and reign as champions. Yeah. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts were after viewing this fight. And would you like to see it again? And would you be excited to see Oshaki Foster perform in the near future? Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.